talking. Ask me anything. That's right, another chance to batter me with questions and come at me with your RPG hot takes. These kinds of things never really happen on this channel, hot takes. For the most part, I would say that my YouTube channel has avoided controversy. That's not to say I have avoided controversy. As a writer, as a developer, as a games designer, I've certainly got in trouble more than a couple of times. Usually saying the wrong thing in the wrong venue to the wrong people. But, you know, it's all part of the learning experience of life, isn't it? We have to make a lot of mistakes because nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to get through this world having made no errors. So you just do your best, don't you? To learn from them, to make our errors and hopefully not repeat them. But sometimes we do. And that's a fun thing of life as well. Sometimes you make a mistake and you look at it and you think, why did that happen again? You know, I did. I screwed this up once already. Why am I screwing it up twice? What's wrong with me? And yeah, we're all fallible, aren't we? Unless you're the Pope. He's infallible, I think, by definition. I'm not a Catholic, but when it comes to fallibility, I probably wouldn't argue with the Pope or Kevin Spacey. There's a figure who's infallible. Why? Well, he's been proven innocent in a court of law. And, well, have you? Have you been in a court of law? Have you been found innocent of all charges? Because if not, that means Kevin Spacey has one up on you. He is better than you. You can take that away and bank it. So, welcome once again to an AMA. If you're watching this live, please leave a thumbs up, a like. It will help it propagate to other people's subscriber feeds and do all of the usual fun stuff that leaving a thumbs up does. The algorithm is an arse, and sadly I cannot control it. I can't make these videos appear on people's subscription feeds, and I cannot make them appear to ask me questions. But I can make the birds sing. I can create a little bird song in the tail end of summer. I'm fairly certain it is supposed to be autumn by now. The trees disagree with me right now. It is as if climate change has really made the seasons a little funky this year. Well, I'm sure it will get better next year. No one's asked me any questions yet. Not one person has asked me a question yet, so that means I will just keep rambling. I'll keep rambling, and I will keep asking you to leave your thumbs up. I don't mind where you put them, as long as you're putting them up somewhere. That's what the algorithm desires, a good thumb up. Anonymous says, hello, is Curseborn doing well? Well, I've got very exciting news when it comes to Curseborn. Backers of the Kickstarter would have today received the updated Outcast chapter of the lineages. So that has all the rules changes, any setting changes, any family changes for the Outcasts. And what's more, well, I have finished my first proof of the Curseborn PDF, and I have already started work on the second proof. So that means we are getting alarmingly close to this book going out to backers. So if you haven't already, thank you, Alex. I'm very proud. If you haven't already backed Curseborn on Kickstarter or BackerKit, do it now so you can get access to the book before everybody else. Get your order in. All you have to do is type in Curseborn BackerKit or Curseborn Kickstarter. You'll be able to find the link to pre-order. Link says, hi Matthew, congrats on almost 40k for Monster Kingdoms. And it is autumn. The equinox is Monday. I don't care what the equinoxes and solstices happen to say. From where I'm standing, it looks very much like summer. When the leaves are turning brown, when animals start hibernating or dying off, then I'll believe you. But until then, it's summer as far as I'm concerned. And yes, Alex, I love to see more Proud Gay streamers as well. I hope we get to see even more of them as the time goes on. Joshua LCL, woo, good to hear movement on the PDF. Yeah, we have got Curseborn through art and layout pretty quickly, and it is looking beautiful. It is a stunning piece of work. But that isn't all, because a little game that I developed, that Link has mentioned here in the chat, Monster Kingdoms, is in its last day, I believe, as of now, if you count a day as 26 hours long. And this is the time when I need as many of you as possible to jump on that backer kit campaign and lend it your support. It doesn't matter how small or how high your support goes. Support just to back the manuscript if you want, just to read it. That'll only cost you $5. Support to access the PDF. That doesn't cost you much at all for a 500 plus page manuscript. Or if you're feeling generous, back for a deluxe copy of the book. Monster Kingdoms is a game that took a good few months, more than a few months, to create. The world Bible, the background, the history, the setting, and so on. I laid all that groundwork in advance. Then I gave it to all of the writers, and they created a fantastic game to surround it. Obviously, I dabbled. I did some writing myself at that stage, but all in all, I think it was a fantastic team effort, and you've only got one day left to back. So, what does that mean? Well, the more people who back at this stage, the more likely it is we will unlock even further stretch goals, which means even more books, products, and so on. So do get on board. If you haven't already backed Monster Kingdoms, please consider doing so. If you've got any questions about Monster Kingdoms, please ask them. This is the last time I'm going to be talking about it on stream for a while. Now, if I happen to sound out of breath or in pain at all today while I'm walking along, it is because my thighs are screaming in agony. Not like a Zimi, she's been at them. It's because I did some ridiculous number of squats at the gym this morning, and it was too much. I've been very much struggling to get up and down stairs today because they hurt. And the big hill is coming up that I have to walk over to get to my gaming venue. So, wish me luck. Anyway, Anonymous says, that's awesome. Hey, do you guys have any plans to have a parallel to mummy characters within Curseborn? I assume they would fit in as one of the dead. Mummies are an interesting one. They've never been a hugely popular supernatural type for players. Obviously, I'm very pleased with Mummy the Curse. The 4 fans of Mummy the Resurrection love it. But it has never been quite as cultural zeitgeisty as vampires, shapeshifters, werewolves specifically, sorcerers, fairies, angels and demons, and so on. Could I see mummies fitting in? I don't know whether they would be best as a family or as their own lineage. If they were their own lineage, I think it would be tricky to not do mummies as some kind of representative of different cultures. Mummy lineage. You know, these are your Incan mummies, these are your Egyptian mummies. But I think that would be quite boring. Your bog mummies. They'd need more to them than that, than just being resurrected dead things. Because again, as you say, the dead kind of have that covered. Likewise, the Chimerai, or Chimerae, or Chimera, I do give their name a different pronunciation each time deliberately, because it is a word to describe something unnatural. Kind of have the curse of the mummy tied to them. Necromancers that strove for immortality, and wouldn't you know, they got turned into something immortal, something unnatural, something ungodly, probably in ancient Egypt. So you've got that covered too. Do I think they could fit in? Yes, absolutely. The Curseborn system is very flexible, all told. It's very flexible. So when people say, some people say to me, would mummies work? Would the created work from Promethean? Would straight demons from Demon the Fallen work? That kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. Really, all each lineage needs is its own damnation, and each family has its own take on that damnation, because of course that was one of the big revisions with the Curseborn manuscript, as people who have received the Outcast draft today will notice, and will have known from the other manuscript drops over the last few months. And of course, coming up with spells for each of them. That's more mechanical heft, admittedly. So yeah, I could see it happening, but I'd need to spend a lot of time, or some time, coming up with an appealing bracket for mummies. Very grandfather thunder of me, my perspective on the seasons. Hello, brother. Hello, Cud. Very pleased to see you here. And hello, the Vampire Castle Gaming. Always lovely. Link says, did we actually look at the numbers and officially confirm that Monster Kingdoms is the largest book Onyx Path has put out? No, it isn't the largest book Onyx Path has put out. It is a long manuscript, but these things have a way, through design, of being compressed. We're not with words being cut or anything like that. We have means, and it isn't just by choosing a smaller font. It certainly won't be the size of Exalted 3rd edition or Mage the Ascension 20th Anniversary edition. I can't see us doing a book that size again. I imagine Curseborn will be around the size of a They Came From core book. And Monster Kingdoms, probably more along the lines of one of the heftier Chronicles of Darkness cores, like Mummy the Curse 2nd edition, which for my sins, I overwrote somewhat. How am I? How are you? Says Vampire Castle Gaming. How are you, Vampire Castle Gaming? I am doing very, very well. I'm really happy with how the Monster Kingdoms crowdfunder is wrapping up in its final day today. And you never know, sometimes backer trains start up in the final day, where you back it, you then convince someone else to back it, then that person convinces someone else to back it, and what that does is it extends the final day. Backing it, keep the campaign open for as long as people keep supporting it. That's happened on a few of our campaigns, so it'll be interesting to see if that happens with Monster Kingdoms. Usually in the last 48 to 24 hours, we send out lots of alerts to people on our mailing lists, on Drive-Thru-RPG, on our Discord, Onyx Path, and say, hey, if you haven't supported it yet, now's your last chance. So all of a sudden people remember, oh shit, I was going to back this, and I left it until the last day. So if you were thinking that, please click on the link, it's in the video description, and give the game your backing. Anonymous says, I adore Mummy the Resurrection. Good for you. Haven't played Curse, and I'm interested in them too. Hope you would at least consider adding a mummy type to the dead. Yeah, the dead would be the natural location for mummies to land. Joshua FLCL says, what kind of subsystems are we going to see in Monster Kingdoms? So if the manuscripts have gone into them, I have difficulty with reading those. Me too. I find it very difficult to read a book that isn't laid out nicely. An RPG book in particular. Subsystems. You have systems for creating regiments of mass combat, legions, dungeons, and populating them. And the magic system, which is different in each of the Earthbane games, isn't all about sorcery in the same way as the world below, let's say. It is more about meeting your will out via your weapons, via magical artifacts. So that has its own subsystem too, but none of them are complicated. Dungeons and legions are pretty much just a separate stat block. Roll as you would for your character, with lots of tables that you can roll on for effects. And scepters and crowns, your power system is just still going to be, to make it effective, you roll a skill plus an attribute, just as you do in the normal game. It's just the tricks you can purchase with any excess hits get quite explosive and deadly when you're dealing with scepters and crowns. You have not missed the party, Mr. Mister. I'm still here. What is it? What is it? Quaid says to Richter in Total Recall. Something about he's going to miss the party. Vampire Castle Gaming says, I have Zombicide Chronicles, the role-playing game. I haven't heard of that. I know of Zombicide. I didn't know there was an RPG. Sean McDaniel says, afternoon, gent, getting those steps in? Yes. I always walk to my gaming group. I could catch the bus, but it's good to walk if you can. One of the benefits of living in the UK and more broadly Europe, that so much of it is pedestrianised, as opposed to America, where you are punished for remaining on foot. So I've never learned to drive, never had to, no matter where I've lived in the UK, and I've moved around a fair bit. I've always been able to either walk everywhere I wanted to go, or catch a bus or a train. So, yeah. Solomon B says, I never played a TTRPG, but I played Bloodlines, and I love your channel, and I love your videos about the World of Darkness and Curseborn. Well, maybe, Solomon, now is the time. Now is the time with Monster Kingdoms. Because Monster Kingdoms has only got 1 day left on BackyKit, you see. That means you need to get on there today and give it your support. If you enjoy the channel, if you enjoy my creative content, please give Monster Kingdoms your support. Even if it's just for the PDF, just something fun to read. It would be much appreciated. Link says, could you technically play Mummy as the Dead Are Now? Like go to a museum on exhibit? Yes, definitely. Dear, the vast majority of dead go to mortuaries, hospitals and the like, and possess the recently dead. But there's nothing stopping you from possessing the ancient dead, something, a fossilized husk. That would be a lot of fun, I think. So, what else do we have? Any other questions? Any other questions from people? Let's see. All messages, there we go. Nope, the questions have dried up. Well, that's fine. Might just mean I finished my AMA earlier than usual. But if you do have any questions, whether it's related to Monster Kingdoms, Curseborn, the World of Darkness, or indeed, well, anything else that might interest you, I will probably have an opinion, and if I don't, I'll make one up. It's easy as that. But yes, it looks like the last question I got was Link saying, at least so you have the aesthetics of playing Mummy. If other people have posed questions, I can't see them. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens on these live streams, that people's questions just disappear off. So try typing something, even if it's just hi, to make sure I know that the chat is still active. I've scaled the hill. My thighs are no longer in revolt. I am now on my descent. There we go, Mr. Congrats on 40k. Thank you very much for the congratulations, Mr. Really appreciated. I say this every time, but the releasing a brand new game without an existing fan base is always a huge gamble. You never know how it's going to land. And I would say I was fairly confident with Monster Kingdoms. The concept was a strong one. It was nice and simple. A fantasy game where you play monsters, where evil won. That's a nice, simple concept. That was the pitch that was given to me by Rich Thomas, and I developed the game from that. Came up with the setting, the history, and so forth. Scepters and crowns, the various kingdoms. And so sometimes, I mean, what's unusual to me is probably that Monster Kingdoms does have a broadly more appealing concept, I would suggest, than The World Below, which is a game I'm also very fond of, and I developed from concept. But The World Below has, monetarily speaking, done better than Monster Kingdoms on crowdfunding. And so that means we at Onyx Path, have to examine, why do we think one game has done better than the other? Is it a change in global financial situations? People are spending less money on games. Was it something about the delivery, the pitch in Monster Kingdoms? Don't worry, it's not a failure. We well surpassed our funding target. But we have to always examine these things, do a post-mortem, gauge why one thing may have done better than the other. So, if you haven't backed Monster Kingdoms, obviously please consider doing so. But if you're not going to be able to, I would love to find out why, not in an accusatory way, I'm not being the Inquisition here, I would just be interested to find out, have your circumstances changed perhaps? Sean McDaniel says, what do you plan for us in the Let's Play space? I bought all the dating games after watching you. Oh God. I'm now marketing for Wales Interactive, apparently. Tomorrow, I might give a Digimon game a go. I've got very little knowledge of Digimon, practically zero. But I have been consulting someone on the creation of a fan Digimon TTRPG. They've been paying for it via my Patreon, which has been very generous. I've been helping them out to create this game. And they have recommended I play the demo of an upcoming Digimon video game. So maybe I will give it a go with all of you folks watching. Let's see. The Pill says, good morning, happy to hear the goal's been met and then some, most definitely. Link says, how much do you think TTRPG writing overlaps with more traditional writing like novels and such? I imagine it's pretty close, especially when it comes to world bibles and lore. That's a very good question, because I know plenty of TTRPG writers who can't write fiction for shit. And sometimes I consider myself among them. I'm very good at writing short bursts of fiction in RPGs. I still don't feel I would ever have the skill to write a novel. It's just not something I could ever imagine myself doing. I can do nice set pieces, I can do spooky phrases and throwaway paragraphs and things like that, or even short fiction that opens a chapter or closes a book. And I've done some short stories for things like Vampire the Masquerade, so I guess I do have it in me. I've just never really been put to the test. I've never had the time and inclination, is probably more accurate. But not every line of fiction comes with the World Bible, of course. If you look at the maestro of horror, Stephen King, I don't think when he is writing a horror novel he thinks, how am I going to tie this into the rest of the Castle Rock horror? Now, if it's a Dark Tower story, that's very different. So it's a very interesting question. And you can actually see with, let's say, the Vampire the Masquerade clan novels, how some of the writers of Vampire the Masquerade really translated their talents into fiction writing, and others arguably struggled to deliver that same quality. So yeah, there we go. That was a very polite way of saying some of the clan novels aren't very good. Peter says, I reckon it might be because of the mostly evil gameplay that most GMs might have burned their hands on before. You may be right, Peter. Oh, lots of Digimon fans. The Pill wants me to play more South Korean dating sims. I'm their target audience. I have the next 5 Hearts Under One Roof. There's a sequel coming. It might be 6 Hearts Under One Roof. I have it on my wish list on Steam. It isn't out yet, but when it comes out, I'm sure I'll be notified. Unless it's one of those games that Steam fails to notify people about, in which case I won't be notified. But I will. There are plenty of others, and I've actually got some of them because I bought them all in a bundle. So I'll go back to them at some point. Joshua FLCL says, more on topic, I back both the World Below and Monster Kingdoms, but the weirder survivalist setting of the World Below is just of great interest to me. Well, that's good. That's nice. I'm glad you found one that really interested you, and I'm very happy with that survivalist theme in the World Below. It's not endlessly grim, though the idea of having to survive by forging links between communities and settlements, if anything, it has a little more in common with the hope of something like Death Stranding than the, I guess, abysmal feeling of the world has ended of some of the darker points of something like Fallout. Mr. Mist says, those Ancient World of Darkness novels, woof. Yeah, they're not all great. They're not fantastic, are they? Link says, would you say Beckett's Jihad Diary is the closest to a novel you've done? Maybe. I did write a lot of it, and not much of it is mechanics. So yeah, I suppose. To be honest, if you probably lined up all the chapters I wrote for Beckett's Jihad Diary, it's probably as long as a short novel. Sean McDuff says, have you spoken on the World of Darkness video game? Any interest in playing? Yeah, there's a video on my channel from about 2 days ago where I speak of the Bloodlines 2 video game. You'll have to check it out, where I talk about doing a Let's Play. By the sounds of it, a lot of people want me to do a Let's Play. Let's see if they actually watch. And by the looks of it, the most popular clan for me to play, because I polled the audience, was Clan La Sombra. Good God, can you imagine me playing a La Sombra? So I may well be playing a La Sombra called Fire in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, unless all of you suddenly flock to the Bloodlines 2 video that I uploaded on Monday and start voting Ventru or Torridor or Bruja, Banu Hakim or Tremere, because those are the other options. Anyway, I didn't do a Swan Song actual play or a Let's Play on this channel. I worked on Swan Song and of course wrote the Boston by Night book that came out with it. So I think I needed some distance from it after its release. I may well visit it for a Let's Play. That could be fun. I've forgotten most of it by now, so that could be a lot more interesting than if I just went in knowing everything about everything. And of course, yes, I participated in the pre-launch Let's Play of Swan Song that Big Bad Wolf or Nacon put out on their YouTube channel. And recorded the epilogues for the games too, for the game as well, that are on my channel, and you can access. I can't even remember where you find the links to those epilogues, but they are both on my YouTube channel, maybe unlisted. Maybe you can only see them if you've played the game through to conclusion. But yeah, anyway, I am going to get to the game that I have got to run tonight and say thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much, everyone who has backed Monster Kingdoms. Again, you've only got 1 day left to do it, so please consider doing it if you haven't, and please share it on your social media if you haven't. It really does help for more people to get to see it, and I will be seeing you next time.